And good morning. Welcome to Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we've got a power packed 2 hours of news and information with you. Today, we're going to take a different spin on Truth to Power, and we're going to talk sports. You know, there's a lot of people in and around the Detroit area that are really excited about a lot of the sports teams here in the great state of Michigan. And one team being the Detroit Lions. And we've had a lot of buzz, a lot of activity from people all around the country that are making statements, very profound statements, and saying things such as they think that the Lions will make it to the Super Bowl. And there are sports pundits that also feel like the Lions not only will make it to the Super Bowl, but they will also win it. And now there's also some pundits that are saying, too, that they think that now the Detroit Lions have replaced the Dallas Cowboys in being America's team. So that probably is something that we'll have to kind of, listen a little bit more, to those comments. But today we're going to be joined by a variety of people that have a lot of information and a lot of intuition and a lot of facts about sports. And in the studio right now with me, none other than Mr. Keith Bennett, who has coached many of sports celebrities, and he is also one that when you think in terms of, say, about sports in and around the Detroit area, you talk about Keith with his athletic prowess, as well as the people that he has enhanced their prowess when it comes down to their ability to be very successful in the sports arena. But Keith Bennett, welcome to to Truth to Power today.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
And we will be joined also by Mr. Norman Clement of Detroit Change Initiative. Norman, welcome to Truth to Power today.
Hey, how's it going? Normally I'll be in person, but today I'm in driving, have some things going on, but I'd love to call in and talk about sports.
Well, Norman, you make the Truth to Power show as entertaining, as an informative, and as as what people call in and people look forward the show to be. You have been with us from inception, and we continue to go and have you as a valued person to disseminate information out, especially when it comes down to politics. But today we're going to have you put your other hat on when it comes down to sports. So again, Norman Clement of Detroit Change Initiative and Keith Bennett of of Black Brickmasters. So that's one, I think, hat that you wear today. But a lot of people know him also from having been the guiding force around the program called Keith? Flip the Script. Okay. So many people have benefited from Keith's intervention and activity when it comes down to a lot of persons that needed some guidance when it comes down to their life and their livelihood. But again, today we're going to talk sports, and we'll be joined later in the show by Alexis Ramsey, by Ishmael Terry, by I can say his name real quick, and that will be Mr. Leland Stein, and he is a former columnist for the Detroit Free Press as well as for the Michigan Chronicle. And what Keith has shared with me, he was also a former Spartan, a fellow Spartan, along with me back up at Michigan State.
Yes, sir.
So let's get started. Norman, Keith, let's get started. I think the first thing that we need to talk about too is that we've got a lot of people that are talking about the Detroit Lions and talking about how the Lions are looking so prominent in the in football this season. And a lot of people are feeling that the Lions are going to probably wind up either making the Super Bowl, but also winning the Super Bowl. What's your thoughts? I'll go with you first, Norman. What's your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, I'm going to say this right now. the identities of the teams who are going to be there lasting are developing right now. The Detroit Lions are one of the only few teams, and I can only see another team that maybe like them is probably Philly. There are, or not even Philly. The Lions are 64 deep, meaning that even players who have lost during injury, another guy could come in and play at a high level. And also, too, with the new GM, I'm thinking with the GM, the brother that's doing the work down there, the scouting, getting the players, getting the needs, down to the details. This team was the two offensive coordinators, defense coordinators, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. They have created such a cohesiveness of grit. They took the identity of Detroit City and put it on the football field. The Lions' problems in the past used to be we always trying to find an identity. What's our moniker? You know, when you look at Pittsburgh Steelers, you know about the steel curtain, they're going to play defense. If you're thinking about the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to be flashy. The 49ers, the West Coast offense. Now Detroit's identity is grit. That means in the lines, we're going to run the ball, we're going to stop the run, we're going to be a physical football team, play action, hit you downfield, and we're going to play football for all four quarters, even two overtimes. And so this is rare when you have a team like that. I went down to Houston, saw the game, saw they got to a slow start, but no one of those members took their hands off the rope. That means they believe in what they were doing and they believe in their process, and they fought through the adversity and got it done. That's what Super Bowl teams do, and that's why everybody's saying the Lions are a Super Bowl favorite.
So
and it's real.
So Norman, you say you were down in Houston for that game, correct? And so what was the environment?
Detroit took it over.
So what was really like the environment then when you saw, were there just as many, well, I'm sure that there weren't as many fans, from the Lions as it were for the Houston, for the Houston team, but did you see a whole lot of Lion fans there?
Darwin, what you saw was Lions fans were able to get into the game. The city of Detroit, I saw more people on the east side, downtown, in Houston. A lot of people didn't go. A lot of folks, I went to the game. Some folks went to the game. You talking about the parking lot outside the stadium? You talking about the bars in the area? You talking about Houston? We have a problem. That means the city of Detroit took over Houston. Houston, we have a problem. That's what the brother and sister Angela, that owns the owner of the locker room. She has an event down there where they take over cities to celebrate the football teams. And I tell you, from Grosse Pointe, East Side Detroit, all of Detroit, Muskegon, everybody in the state of Michigan were down that watched that game on Sunday night. And that tells you because number one, Houston's a good team, and number two, we came out and people wanted to come and support their team. And I tell you, from a player standpoint, the players felt that they were never alone. And I think that's why the fandom, the push, that the support was there, pushed them to push that game over to overtime and win that game.
Keith, what's your thoughts?
Well, I agree with Norman. I have some friends, quite a few friends from years back, and I got a few that's been down there the last 6 or 7 years, ex-Detroit police officers. Spoke to them, and they said Detroit took over Houston. They said they took over H-Town. They said they were glad to see Detroit people leave, not because they did anything negative, but it was just Detroit was the most prominent thing that weekend, period. They are a great travel team now. I think you mentioned that people around the country are trying to weigh whether they are America's team. I think that started 2 years ago, that thought process. I think they quietly are. I think the NFL is a tradition. It's a traditional sport. They don't like change or sudden change, and they definitely don't like you to play with their top ownership, and Jerry Jones is that. And if it wasn't for Jerry Jones, then they would just come out. I think the media would come out and say Detroit now is America's team.
Well, Norman, let me ask you then. So when we look at who are the other teams that you think, Norman, I'll ask you the same thing, Keith, that you think that we need to, be conscious of when it comes to taking our spot and representing in the Super Bowl? What other teams do you see that might be ones that could kind of dethrone us from what people are saying that we'll be in the Super Bowl this season?
Only one team out of the NFC I can see is going to give us some problems. It's going to be Philadelphia. The 49 Philadelphia with Saquon Barkley. That man's a guy, that running back. Back there, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, remember him. They got a potent offense with Brown and Smith on the other side. Defensively, they got a huge defensive line. They got some good corners out there. One of the corners, the local Detroit kid, Antonio Maddox, from Detroit versus King. He's back there. And then, that's Philadelphia. The other one, Tampa Bay, is always iffy, but they played us good. Good scheme, good defense. We can't ignore even though the Lions beat Arizona's a physical team. We can't ignore the Rams. And San Francisco, I don't see them as much as a threat this year because I think they lost a step. But I think that you still can't underestimate them. My fear on the other side, of course, you can't underestimate the defending champs, Kansas City, because of Patrick Mahomes. But you also got Baltimore. But my biggest one right now is the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the team where I can see where Detroit, and I can see that game going to Detroit in double overtime with the Pittsburgh Steelers. With the resurgence of Russell Westbrook, they got great talent at receivers. They got a running game, but they have a mean physical defense. And so those are the only two teams on the AFC where I see we may get some trouble with if we get into the Super Bowl with either Baltimore or Pittsburgh. I see the Lions easily beating Kansas City.
Well, what do you see, Norman? I'm gonna get to you, Keith, in a second. What do you see the resurgence of Russell Wilson as quarterback now for the Pittsburgh Steelers? What because there was a controversy in the beginning that had to be addressed, that Mike Tomlin had to address, as to who to put in for quarterback. So what makes it to where you think that Russell Wilson is probably going to be the quarterback that's going to lead them to the rest of the season?
Well, I think number one, Russell won the job in the spring during training camp, and then they ended up picking up Justin Fields. Russell Wilson had an injury, and Justin Fields came in and filled the spot. Even they went under, they only lost one game, I believe, with him, but he filled the spot admirably. But the things that Russell can do, Justin's a lot more mobile, faster than him, but Russell still is mobile. Well, Russell has a beautiful deep ball, and he's a passing quarterback, and he understands the dynamics of running the offense, leadership. Also, remember he's a Super Bowl winner. He's also NFL Man of the Year. He's been successful in the playoffs, and so Russell can still throw that ball. And so with him, Mike Tomlin coaching, giving another atmosphere, it makes the offense a lot more better. Where Justin Fields, you did a lot depending on his athleticism. Not so much he passes out the ball every now and then, but you really weigh heavily on Najee Harris running the ball. And also Warren running the ball back there. With Russell, you open up the offense. So you got to think about, I can't pronounce the name, the tight end. You got to think about Pickett. You also got to think about Warren not just running the ball, but getting the ball out the backfield. Najee Harris the same way. So he opens up the offense, and also if everything's covered, Russell will go and run, and Russell won't run it. Russell's a slider too. So he'll run, get 10 yards to slide or go out of bounds. So he keeps the ball going and stuff like that. And also, him himself, Russell Wilson, I predict he's probably going to be running for president of the United States of America. Cause it's positive atmosphere, he's the man of the year. He's around there. He knows what to say, the right thing to say, even though people joke at him about that, but he really believes that. And that he has a good, infectious, good environment among team members. So he's your captain. He becomes an automatic leader. And with Pittsburgh in that system, that works for them. And, with that defense. And I think Tomlin got a hand on it. And, that's the thing. That's the team where them and Detroit match up very, very well.
So, Keith, let me ask you. So, do you think that Mike Tomlin, is being recognized as the efficient, great coach that he, has been years past? Do you think that this is probably one of his toughest coaching seasons?
No, I don't necessarily think it's one of his toughest coaching seasons. I think it's one that continues his benchmark coaching. I think that it speaks to his consistency. It speaks to his never give up. It speaks to his development of a team that can go out each year and compete at a high level. But I don't think it's his best coaching season at all. I just think that it's a continuation. Now, coming up with two quarterbacks when he didn't have any last year, basically, you got to give him credit for that. And that he went and got Wilson, when a lot of people wouldn't have touched Russ. He also took a flyer on Fields, which a lot of people had given up on. But he has a unique ability to really see how a player fits into his system and the games that he wants to design his teams to play.
Norman, so now if I had to ask you, I know you got a short limited time to be with us, but let me ask you then, Norman. So, Super Bowl, who are your predictions to be in the Super Bowl and who's going to win it?
I got my predictions of the Super Bowl. I got Detroit Lions, and I got Pittsburgh Steelers. Detroit wins 35-21.
35-21.
Yep.
So do you think that then that championship game from the AFC, that's going to be who? Pittsburgh beating who to be in the Super Bowl?
Pittsburgh's going to beat Kansas City.
Okay. Keith, what are your predictions?
I haven't went that far to make that kind of prediction because the NFL season is so long. We're just getting a little bit past halfway, and the injuries can pop up. If the Lions can stay decently healthy, they've already sustained a lot of injuries and been able to, still stay where they're at. They definitely will be in the Super Bowl. I don't see anybody beating them from our division. San Francisco, I agree with Norman, has had their best days, but they can have good days. And Philadelphia is a formidable opponent for the Lions to make it. But here's the difference. I think we have a slightly better offensive line. And I believe that our overall depth will give Philadelphia problems. I think they will key in on the quarterback and make him make some mistakes. That's the way Aaron Glenn plays. He really makes other teams make mistakes. And so I think it'll be the Lions. I'm not a Pittsburgh fan for this year in the Super Bowl. I'm not a Baltimore fan. I think KC will get there, hook or crook. And I think the Lions will take them apart in the Super Bowl.
Okay. So, Norman, let me ask you this last quick question then before we let you go. So, Norman, you and I talked about this beforehand. The Lions, as prolific as they've been, in the season, and then the possibility of them going into the Super Bowl and possibly winning it. They've got coaches that are probably going to be looked upon by a lot of different vacancies that may come about in the end of the season. Who do you think that they stand to lose at the end of the season?
We're going to lose both coordinators. Aaron Glenn's probably going to go back to – Aaron Glenn was a Pro Bowler at the Saints. I see him going to the Saints there, rebuilding that team there. And Ben Johnson, I can see Ben Johnson going to either New York Giants, because I said they're going to make a change there, or I can see him going out to the Raiders.
That's interesting. Do you think that Dallas?
Because I don't see I don't see him going to Dallas because I think Ben Johnson has him and the identity, his idea of what he wants to do are so confined that he wouldn't want to deal with Jerry. He wouldn't want to deal with the controversy there. Also, I think Brady plays a bigger role into that. with the thought of just having the team manager and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Ben wants consistency. He wants a positivity as far as doing with the GM, working with the team management. I don't think Ben wants to deal with the diva at that position, and dealing with the diva at the higher levels. You don't want to deal with Jerry because Jerry gonna do what he want to do. You don't want to deal with the Jets situation because he doesn't want to deal with a prima donna at the New York Jets. And then the Giants situation, you don't know. They may keep Brian Daboll, but I know Ben Johnson does not want to keep the current quarterback now. So I see those two teams are the big play of that at that position. And Ben Johnson, I can see him going to the Raiders. That'll be his best fit.
Okay.
Be able to draft the quarterback that he wants.
Okay.
I think with Ben Johnson, I think most of his thing is consistency within his family. He speaks of that he speaks of loving this area, his kids, his wife. When you're a young coach and you got a young family, sometimes wives have a lot to say about a lot of moving
You
around.
say sometimes.
Yes, I try to give him a little credit.
Okay.
So it's going to take a great opportunity for him to leave. But I think that it's 50-50. I don't know if he'll leave because I think the Fords have made him very comfortable. I think that he knows he has consistency here in Detroit. I know the money is a lure, but they're paying him quite well, and I think they will continue to pay him. I agree with Norman that having Brady out in Vegas, who loves the Detroit offense, would be somebody who's going to recruit him. But I'm 50-50 on him, and I agree with Norman. I see Aaron Glenn going back to the Big East.
Okay. Norman, we are thankful that you were able to join us today. We've got another person in the studio, Mr. Leland Stein, that's going to be joining us in our next half an hour. So we are very fortunate, and we hope that, Norman, your prediction come true. So we will definitely stay tuned. But thank you again, Norman, for coming on Truth to Power today with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Okay. All right. Now, we've got a few more minutes before we take a break, but we have been joined in the studio by the phenomenal, I want to say, sports writer, columnist. I don't know, Leland, you probably can kind of enhance that title and put some other adjectives to go along with that to describe you, because your name speaks volumes when we talk about sports. But we have been joined in the studio by Mr. Leland Stein. And Mr. Stein, we should have another person that wants to call in about 10:30 today that will kind of surprise you as to who she will be when she calls into the show at 10:30 today. So again, we are very, very fortunate to have some great sports-minded individuals to be not just in the studio, but also to call in as well. So if anything you won't want to miss, the phenomenal people that I've got in the studio with me, plus the people that will be calling in. So folks like Ishmael Terry, Alexis Ramsey, we hope that you will be soon. And also we hoping that we can get Ken Scott in as well. But before I really forget, I want to tell Ken Scott's mother, Miss Rose Wallace, I want to wish her a happy birthday. She will be in the future. She will be this weekend. She will be 88 years young. So again, we just want to thank her for all of the things that she's done. And we don't mind that she brought Ken into this world. So, you know, we can tolerate that part. But we love you, Ken Scott. And we definitely wish Rose Wallace a very, very happy birthday. So now I'll just because people might kind of think we got a couple minutes before we take a break, but just want to kind of give Mr. Leland Stein an opportunity to say hello, because probably there's a lot of people that probably be say, wait a minute, you got him on the show? Oh man, that's the only thing that Truth to Power would be missing today, was to have Leland Stein on the show. Mr. Stein, welcome to Truth to Power today.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Keith. Well, man,
That's my man. You're my man. You got
Thanks, I
got
appreciate
his Raider hat on.
Well, I think the memo went out today that everybody was to wear baseball caps today.
And
so,
black.
I think that,
I'm right on time, then.
I guess we couldn't have had any other memo to come out that could have said that because, Keith, I know we've talked about wearing baseball caps before, but, I haven't. So I said for you today, I'd wear my baseball cap. And Mr. Stein, I didn't know that you were going to also have but I see you got your Raiders cap on then. So I guess we'll have some conversation about that part, at the same time. But Leland, just real quick, let's just kind of address before we take a break real quick. How do you think the sports is looking here in the Detroit area? Whereas, we've had bad boy days. We've had the Red Wings have had prolific titles, in the past. The Detroit Tigers had a real good season, this year. So how does sports look, the identity of sports here in Detroit?
Well, when you get 40,000 people go to Houston, well, actually, I said it was 100,000 because my daughter even went with my son-in-law, who's a coach. He's a basketball coach here in Detroit. You know him, Nance Jordan. Yeah. So they win, and half my fraternity win. I was like, what? I thought we ain't had no money. But we see like we traveling pretty good in Detroit. Ain't we? We had about another 50 in Tampa Bay. So you can just see from the enthusiasm, we are a starved population. We've always loved the NFL. We have a long history with great people, Lem Barney and Mel Farr, just goes on and on. Even more, Smith and guys, but not been able to win, though. It's been a tortured fan base here in Detroit. But right now, they really, really, I've been afraid to ever mention the word Super Bowl and Lions at the same time.
In the same sense, right?
No, man. My dad took me to my first Lions game in 1964.
Well, hold that story. We got to take a quick break. Okay. So when we come back from break, we'll let that story continue. From the phenomenal Leland Stein, the awesome Keith Bennett, and I'm your host, Darwin Griffin. So I am in a lot of great company today. But stay tuned. We'll be right back with Truth to Power.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Matter. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
Claudine Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by autism is her brutally honest journey, filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.claudinejackson.tv.
TV33 is moving to WHPS TV channel 15.2. Make sure to rescan the channels on your TV. Then go to WHPS channel 15.2 to pick up TV33 and all of your favorite shows. The move is on, and we want you to move with us to WHPS channel 15.2.
are back with Truth Power, and where your voice and your truths become our power. And we are joined in the studio by Mr. Keith Bennett, by Mr. Leland Stein, and we have to find out whether or not if we have Mr. Ishmael Terry. Is he on the line with us?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay. Ishmael, I'm going to ask you if you can to call back in, because I got another special guest that's going to be calling in that's even more special than you are, Ishmael. That's going to be calling in about shortly, and this person's calling in from out of state. So if you can call back in about 11 o'clock, would greatly be appreciated.
Yes, sir. Will do.
Okay. Thank you, Ishmael. Okay. Leland, I'm going to let you finish your story real quick before we get to talking to continue the sports part.
I'm not sure where I left off. You hit me at 70. I got to stay on that train.
Well, the thing too is that, when you talk about the stories that you probably and the people that you've covered, right, throughout the years, right, who has probably been the one athlete or person that you've covered in all the years that you've been writing about, athletes that probably really fascinated you the most?
You're going to make me do it. I can't do one.
Well, I'll let you do a couple of them. I'll let you. We got time. We got another hour and a half, so we got time. So go ahead.
Well, the one that really tripped me out was Jim Brown.
Okay.
When I first really started getting into that journalism out there in L.A., I was in Los Angeles, and I got hooked up with the one of the top, the Jackie Robinson sports writer, Brad Pye Jr., out there in California, broke all the barriers out there. And I met him at Magic Johnson's basketball camps. I was coaching there, and I saw him, and I told him I wanted to write. And from there, once I got in with him, he took me under his wing, because we all need mentors, don't we? Mm-hmm. All because you do mentoring, no matter what it is. It don't have to be sports.
Yeah, because Keith has been a mentor to so many men.
Yeah. And I was sitting with one of my mentors a couple of days ago, and we were counting the people that touched my life. I had over 60 mentors. Think about it. Mm-hmm. GSL coaches,
right? No doubt.
College coaches, Richmond, McKenzie. I had so many. New Detroit Incorporated. So we all need mentors. And that's what this generation has not. They haven't.
Ooh, don't get me started on that.
That could be another conversation right there.
But they Brad Pye got me going, and once I got in the press box, the world was just a little bit changing. You were having a black columnist at predominantly white papers. Mm-hmm. It just happening. I was around the 80s, the early 80s. Boy Bill Rhodes and Michael Wilbon, all of them was just getting these jobs, and Brian Burwell, of course, who passed away, started here, of course, with the USA Today. Mm-hmm. So it was them guys and me. I always felt some kind of way because, the black press is weakening. So the fact of the matter, when you're competing, the dailies are pushing it every day. So you got to find a niche in there and a place to keep your stuff relevant. I wasn't concerned about just covering the games and writing game stories. What I found, though, even though them brothers were getting hooked up with the New York Times and those papers, the athletes were still coming to the black press, finding someone out in the black press that was really writing, right, and putting work in, and they give you whatever you need. So as a result, Jim showed me that I was covering the Raiders. Who was it? Los Angeles? The Raiders, one of them, in the Coliseum, USC. And we came up to Coliseum Tunnel, and there was Jim. Now, you got to think, I'm just getting going in this stuff. And, I had to muster up the courage to ask him, brother. I'm looking at that's my hero, right? Because that's my dad's guy. My dad's a football coach. I got to switch from being a fan to really trying to do something serious here, which at first I was, oh. But anyway, I got Jim. I said, Jim, look, man, I'm over here with the LA Sentinel. I'd love to interview you. He said, sure, I read them all the time. Here's my number. Now, this is how brothers treat each other. Back in the day. He gave me, said, call me. I had to come up to the house. I couldn't even do a phone interview. He said, you got to come to the house. I gone up to the house about 2 weeks later. He was having a little function in Hollywood Hills, and about 30 people. And he called me back a little later, about 2 hours. And my first question to him was, Jim, why'd you invite me over to the house? He said, I knew you was writing for the Black Press, and we got to tell our own stories. So I'm sitting here with you because I know you ain't going to cut nothing I say. I said, you daggum Skipper, I ain't going to cut nothing. Shoot, you let it go, and it's going to present itself that way. You ain't got to worry about that. So that was pretty profound because it kind of went through the whole Black Press wire service. We have our own wire service called NNPA.
Okay.
And it serves like the Associated Press.
Well, I'm going to ask you, Leland, we got somebody else on the line that wants to join us real quick, and this may be a blast from your past when we bring this person in. But special guest, do we have you on the line? Special guest.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm
going to ask Leland if you can recognize this voice, Leland.
Got to be the one and only.
Who's that?
Mama.
Uh-oh.
Doggone, right?
Mama B.
Doggone, right. When you call me Leland, you say, do you know Leland? Yes, I do. But so we go way back.
Way back.
Well, for those few people that might not know who he's referring to when he says Mama
B,
and when he says B, this is Miss Gladys Bettis. Gladys, we are very, very fortunate to have you on Truth to Power today.
We got me giggling over here. You ought to see me. I'm smiling ear to ear.
Yes. Where you need us. Where you need us.
I'm so happy to be on with you. And I'm in Atlanta. I just flew in here an hour ago. You know, when Darwin asked me to be on, I said, oh, you picked the worst time. I said, because I'm traveling. But I'm here because I heard you guys talking football talk. You know, that's my talk.
Oh, yeah.
And my grandson is playing football. He's a senior now. And he's in the playoffs. And I had promised him I'd come to a couple of his games. So this is my second one. And I don't know if it'll be the last one because he'll be starting in Notre Dame come January.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So speak his name, Gladys. Speak his name. We know the legacy. Go ahead. That's
right. The legacy continues. His name is Jerome Bettis Jr. And he's a wide receiver. He's about 6'3".
Whoa.
He's 17, so he might have another inch. He's 6'3", about 195 pounds, and he's great. You want to see him? Go on YouTube and look up Jerome Bettis Jr.
Oh,
it has started all over again, and I'm happy about it.
Gladys, I think back to some of the stories that I could tell about times that me, you, Johnny, John would go out there with Stephanie and Alan and Shirley, and we'd all come out there and go and see Jerome play when he played at U of M, when he played at State. I mean, just all over. So now the legacy starts back all up again for you again then.
It's time back
so
up.
you're going to be a traveling mama then, aren't you?
I'm telling you, I won't be traveling as much as now. I'm older now. I cannot go up in those bleachers like I used to. I cannot run like I used to run behind Jerome in the stands. When he runs, I ran with him. I can't. I got to sit and watch Junior now.
Well,
I remember so well when we were together, when we all worked together, and you guys were there. You guys were there for me. You gave me information to help me out with this because I didn't know anything about this. You know, that's not what we were doing. I was building him for an academic scholarship, not football. That dreaded game, I hated it.
Hey, but Jerome's always been an academic. He didn't lose that. He's been a good scholar his whole life, and it served him well in his post-athletic career. So, you know, putting that emphasis on education was well worth it. Don't you think so?
Gladys, could you hear him?
Might have lost her.
We did? Okay. But But that's the thing, Gladys. If you still can hear us, please call back in. We may have lost your call for a minute because we know that you're, just flew in to Atlanta. But Leland, the bus. What he did. In terms of say, the prolific career that he had. And I know we were talking about Pittsburgh, earlier. What's your thoughts about Pittsburgh this season?
Can I say something about the bus first?
Yeah, it looks like Gladys is calling back in. So, okay. Gladys, do we have you back again? Back. Okay.
Yes, I'm here. I don't know what happened.
Okay, go ahead, Leland, and then Gladys, I'm going to get right back to you. But go ahead and say you were saying.
I want to talk about your son for a minute. My life is kind of been caught in his draft a little bit. Because when he first came to the Rams, Steve Brown and Lamont, he had a black agent and a black one of the first athletes to do that kind of stuff, believe it or not. Jerome did. And he had Lamont was his agent. So the limo, I was living in LA and I was covering the Rams. They sent that limo out to my house. They had me come to the Rams thing. I was living in Riverside, California. And it was so funny because the PR director, remember Smith? Rick Smith with the Rams, the public relations director, Gladys?
Okay.
He was a great guy. But anyway, he looked at me and said, "What you doing with them? I thought you was a writer." It kind of messed him all up. He couldn't figure out what I was doing. But this is connections that we had from Detroit. I went to McKenzie, played tailback. Now, I ain't going to try to act like I was halfway good as better. Don't get me wrong. But at least I did play tailback at McKenzie. So I can't say that. And then when Jerome was in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame, they had me write a story, the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame, for the book. Mm-hmm. And Sam Logan to make sure I got to Canton when he went into Canton. And then, of course, I was with the Chronicle when we put that story on the front page. They had the beautiful picture of your son coming off the field. So he had me on the front page of the Chronicle. That was his fault. So, I mean, if he wasn't that guy and doing his thing and coming from Detroit, it made it a bigger story for us. Because we love to highlight our kids. Anyway. That's what we do. And, but I saw your son last year, Gladys. You tell him I said hi, please.
Okay. Right here, Mom.
Is that him? Is that Jerome?
That's John.
Oh, that's John. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's John with me. We're at Jerome's house, but Jerome's not here yet.
Last year, this group in Milwaukee invited your son to come be the keynote speaker at the Fellowship Open. And lo and behold, I get called. No, they had me introduce her. They sent me to walk just to introduce her son. I was like, whoa, I'm caught in Jerome's whiff right here, But yeah, that actually really did happen. That's the truth. That came out of nowhere. But that actually, was just a beautiful thing. But Jerome got his degree, didn't he?
Yes, he went back.
Yeah, he said he did that for you. He did that for you.
Yes, he did. He sure did. He when he came out, I didn't want him to come out, but he explained to me that it was his time, that he needed to do it now, and he said if I stay here I could get hurt and I would never be able to play. So I said okay. We sat in the office with Coach Holt, myself, my husband, and Jerome, and we talked it over, and he told us that he felt that it was time for Jerome to go into the NFL. So I told Jerome, you got to leave school. I said, so promise me you'll come back and get your degree. And he said, Mom, I promise you. I said, but promise yourself too that you'll get this degree. And over the years, I saw where he just life wasn't giving him the opportunity. He didn't have the time to do it. He was always working, always on the hustle, I call it, his team. And then when he left there, he's still running. But the one thing that helped him was COVID. COVID sat him down. And it was a bad thing for everyone else, but it turned out to be a good thing for us because it gave him time to sit down. And then he started doing online classes in Notre Dame, and that And then his last semester, he only had a year left, but he had been doing classes, and his last semester had to be done at Notre Dame. So he had to go there, get a place to stay. He got a little apartment off campus, right across the street from campus, and that's where he stayed the whole time. And his family would come up, see him, because he wasn't running home all the time, so they would all come up and see him. And he did it. He went on and he did it. And he called me. That's also on YouTube. I just watched it a couple of days ago, and every time I watch it, I'm in tears watching it, you know. And I think of my husband, you know, and when Jerome did it, he called me the day he took his last final. He called me and he said, "Mom, I did it. It's over." And I'm like, "No." He said, "Yes, I did it." He said, and I was thinking about Dad, you know. I said, "Don't worry, he's watching us. He knows what's going on, you know." I said, "You always have it in your heart." So he went on, and when he came in there, oh my God, we just couldn't control him. We had tissues all up and down the road. His wife, his kids, John, my daughter, everybody. We were all just sitting there. And we were just in tears, and he was so happy, and he even made a speech after graduation. I mean, why not? You've got a guy that came back after 28 years to get his degree. Why not have him make a speech to these young people? And it was beautiful.
So Gladys.
So now, I'm sorry, his daughter, don't let me forget, Jerome's daughter is in her second year at Notre Dame.
So Gladys, what would you think that your husband would say to your grandson right now, having raised Jerome in the football regime? What would he say to his grandson? What advice would he give to his grandson today?
Wow, that's a good one. John here, I'm going to ask John, what advice would your dad give to Junior right now about his career, about what's going on?
Stay on the path.
Stay on the path? Stay on the path. He's on his way.
Stay on the path. What's that?
God said it's slow, steady, stay on that path.
Well, you know, and then I guess the thing is that, Gladys, what would you say? What advice do you give to your grandson, aside from what you would think that your husband might say, and what you know John Jr. would say? What advice would you give him?
You know what? I've been watching him to make sure that he's doing this for him, you know, and not his dad. And so far, everything I've seen leads to him wanting to do this. And I've talked to his dad about it. What do you think? When did he get into football so serious? Because for years he was not. But now, right now, I saw an entire different person. And Jerome told me, he said it's been about a year now that he's totally into the game. So, you know, my advice is do this for you, son, but know you're not alone. We're all here. We're all here for you. You know, anytime you need something, come to us and ask for help.
Gladys, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to ask one last question. Lila, I'm going to let you ask the question. But Gladys, does he have a nickname yet?
No, he doesn't have a nickname. At least I don't.
It won't be the boss. Not at 190.
What would it be?
They're built like a granddaddy.
Well, I'm going to ask Leland, because Leland has covered so many sports people, and I'll ask Keith, do you think what nickname might you think that could be, you know, adorned on your grandson? So, Leland, I'll let you go first, since you know so many of them like that.
Look, I got to watch and wait. A lot of times, if you really need one and have it, the team will make sure you get it too by your actions. But I have a question for you. Jerome, of course, graduated, but the other big deal was the Hall of Fame. When Jerome went in the Hall of Fame, what have you seen, or what would Jerome say has been the biggest difference for him having that gold jacket? What has it brought to him?
You know what? I've seen the difference with him, since he's got the gold jacket and the degree. He's a stronger person. He's staunch. You know, Jerome he's always been a fairly serious person. I guess he got that from his dad, because, you know, you guys know me. I'm just out there. I'm just writing. I'm always talking, always, you know, running around. But Jerome is very serious, you know, and I asked him about Junior, and he talks to Junior, but he doesn't tell him anything that Junior doesn't necessarily need to know. He doesn't coach him, let me put it that way. He talks to him, and he works with him with what he knows. So I don't know. It just seems to me that it made Jerome a stronger man.
Well, you know, and I think that's one of the things, Gladys, that really he sees the things that he wanted to do and the things that he's done, in not just in the sports arena, but also just in Jerome's philanthropic things that he's done, you know, and things he does in the community. And he's making such a, you know, empire, as well as you. Because, I mean, Gladys, I still think back to when we were at at the stadium watching Jerome play. And it was funny because me and Johnny was sitting back here in the back along with Alan. You know, we were about 10 rows behind you all in the stands. Mm-hmm. And look up all of a sudden, and I could hear you, even with 108,000 fans that were there at the University of Michigan Stadium. And you, when I think they piled on Jerome, you was like, "Get off my Romy, get off."
Oh, my boy.
And you was ready. Your sister had to kind of grab you to kind of keep you from jumping up in the stands to run down there and pull them off the pile off of your son and stuff.
That's right. I was talking to someone about it yesterday, and I was telling how I used to fight in the stands. I told them I take them all on. I stand there and turn around, and they're like, knock his head off and break his arm. And I'm like, hey, hold it. You know, you wouldn't want that done to your child. That's my child out there that's playing. You know, respect that. And I always, hey, that's my boy out there. You can't do that.
Well, now you're doing, you know, go ahead, Gladys.
The greatest thing about this whole thing is, my husband is always sitting right there beside me with his headset on and listening to his radio and everything. He'll look up at me and turn his head. Got no backing from him, so I had to find John. and if John wasn't sitting with us, I find John and wait, come on, I need some help down here because your dad is not giving me any.
You know, Gladys, I think in terms of say that when we would see that, and then, but you. Now, so you're working with a lot of the football moms, so with other moms that are that have their sons. So talk about that. What you're doing real quick, because I know we've got a few minutes before we get ready to go to break.
Yeah,
y'all had an event during the draft too. You know, mention that.
Yeah, we have our organization, Professional Football Mothers, and we've been together. I think this is our 27th year.
You say it's your 27th year?
Yeah, okay. This is our 27th year, and we're out there to help these new moms. You know, we started out helping our sons because at that time these boys were running wild and they were making bad decisions and choices with themselves. So we figured, you know, we found out that the moms, the boys, still, you hear me calling them boys, but they were men. The boys still listen to their moms. So we found that out, and then we jumped right in. So we started doing things with them, with helping them with their charities and their foundations, doing community service. So, you know, it started out with them, but it ended up now that it's not as bad with the guys. So we're in for our mothers, you know, for us, because we need something ourselves. And when I went in, I needed the fellowship is what I get out of the whole organization. And talking to other mothers that have sons and that's going through what I've been through, or you know that, and they need someone to talk to. You know, it's a whole different story when you have a son, and I just say it like it is. That's rich. You know, he's rich and he does things for you. And your best girlfriend may not quite understand how it is. But when you got another mom that's going through exactly what you go through, she understands and she knows what you're going through. Right. You know, it was the women. We were trying to help them stay away from these women that were after them. You know, that was always a problem. So, but that's what we started at, and we'll have our conference. It's going to be back in Detroit in 26. So you can probably get some of us to be on your little radio program. Stein, I'll be looking for you. So, but we're here.
Well, we look forward to having you here. So I'm gonna ask you, Gladys, too, real quick. So, okay, Super Bowl, Pittsburgh, Detroit Lions. Who are you rooting for?
The Lions.
You almost made me curse.
Jerome ain't playing for Pittsburgh no more.
But he bleeds. But we bleed blue and gold.
That's right. You do believe that. What?
We believe that. So
you Motor City all the way.
That's a sticky situation. John, help me out on that one. He said, if the Steelers play the Lions in the Super Bowl, who would I root for? Did y'all hear that? Did you hear that?
We can hear that all the way here in Highland Park, Michigan. He said the Steelers there.
They can hear that all the way in Highland Park, Michigan. They heard that.
Dream come true.
Dream come true. Wouldn't that be a dream come true?
No, wait a minute. Dream come true. The Lions win.
The Lions win? Oh, come on.
Look, you guys have won 4. We got to get 1 now. Just for,
That's true. That's true. I'm all for the Lions, believe me.
I know you are.
I love the Lions. I'm hometown. I'm hometown girl. So if the Lions, I root for them. Man, I root for them.
They are going to.
They are going. God said it. They are going to the Super Bowl.
But they're going to lose to the Steelers.
Well, going to the Super Bowl, that's half the battle.
It is half the battle.
That's half the battle.
Now we got to go and win it. Gladys, John, we appreciate you being on the show with us today. We definitely have to invite you to come back on again. So probably as the Lions season progresses, and hopefully we can see if that prediction comes true about the Lions and the Pittsburgh Steelers being in the Super Bowl. And then we can kind of that would be an interesting one right there. But again, safe travels. Best wishes to your grandson. Best wishes to Jerome, Jonathan, and the rest of your family. So again, safe travels. And we look forward to seeing you in the near future.
Okay. It's so good to talk to you guys. Y'all take care.
Okay. You too now. Bye-bye.
All right, honey. Bye-bye.
Peace and blessings.
Okay. So we will take a quick break and we will come back shortly. And my special guests in the studio now are Mr. Leland Stein, Mr. Keith Bennett, and you're listening to Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin. So we'll be back shortly.
Maureen Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by Autism is her brutally honest journey filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.claudinejackson.tv.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Michigan with the Truth to Power Show. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, joined in the studio by Mr. Leland Stein and by Mr. Keith Bennett. Looks like we may have Mr. Ishmael Terry on the line with us. Ishmael, are you on the line with us?
Yes, sir. I returned.
Well, we are glad that you returned. We just had Miss Gladys Bettis on with us for the last half an hour. So, you know, she's all the way in Atlanta. So I said, all right, well, we can get Ishmael anytime, but we definitely don't need Miss Gladys Bettis to come on the show.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ishmael, just real quick, we've got a few minutes. We wanted to kind of get your thoughts in terms of say about this upcoming Lion season, just real quick. We've been talking about people that we think that are probably going to be in the Super Bowl, and we're talking about who we think is going to win it. Give me your predictions about this upcoming Super Bowl.
So after what happened last night with Philadelphia versus Washington, where they went up 3 scores by the fourth quarter, I have Philadelphia Eagles, I have Detroit Lions winning it. I have Philadelphia winning the NFC East. I have the Lions winning the NFC Central, bar from any injuries, because I know that McNeil is hurt, the big fella in the middle, the plugger. But I think he's able to still play. And we'll see what our new edge rusher that we got from Cleveland. We'll see how that plays itself out. I do agree with Norm, though, that Ben Johnson most likely will be going to probably coach at Vegas. And then they will try to maneuver to get Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado to go there instead of going to Dallas. Because they want to replace Dak Prescott, move him out, and bring in Shedeur Sanders. But I believe that Detroit will make it to the NFC playoff, and then I do believe that they'll make it to the conference final. And from there, it's going to be a toss-up because you still got San Francisco, you still got the Eagles, and as long as you have those two teams out there, you know, it's a grab bag.
So who do you think, Ishmael, would be the opponent that will be playing in the Super Bowl? Or that
I believe that it would be, I hate to say this, but I am going to go back. I'm going to say Detroit Lions versus Kansas City Chiefs.
With who winning it?
I think Kansas City wins it by a touchdown.
Okay, you got a lot of reaction here in the studio, so I'm gonna let either one of you gentlemen chime in first.
You know, I go against the grain. I don't do all that.
Well, we used to go against the grain because, if I'm correct, at Northwestern High School they had a prerequisite that you had to take stuck on phonics, right?
Well,
the last time the Lions saw the Kansas City Chiefs, what happened?
Yep.
And our Lions a better team since that point.
What, last year or this year?
The last time the Lions played Kansas City, who won the game?
That was preseason. That wasn't regular season. That
They
wasn't
beat 'em
regular
last
season.
year.
They beat them last year in the first
That was the
game.
first
Oh, you
game.
talking last year?
Yeah.
Well, what happened to the Lions last year?
But our Kansas City a better team than they were last year. This year.
Okay, now, no.
No. Are the Lions a
No.
better team than they were this year than they were last year?
No.
No?
They were better team. They were a better team last year than they were this year.
Because of one player?
No, multiple players.
What's the difference if you take Hutch out? What's the difference?
Okay, so you don't have edge rushers anymore.
Which we do. We got
Right.
one from Cleveland.
Okay, but we don't know how Smith is going to play out.
How do you think he's going to play off?
I
When
think
you
they
get a chance
should.
to get the ring.
I think that they should have went after Max Crosby, and
Max
they
wasn't
got
coming.
He
Max
wasn't
coming.
available. It's
I
easy to
still-
say that, but he ain't
listen,
available.
He wasn't coming.
All you would have to do was give up a second round draft.
No.
Oh, yes.
No.
Yes, you would have to give up a second
No.
round draft
No.
and some money,
Down.
and you would have got Max Crosby.
Put a plug on it. Because number one, you spelled my last name wrong. How do you spell my last name wrong?
Hey man, I forgot, man. Look here, man. I'm getting old. I'm getting old like you guys.
The truth.
You and Stein. I'm getting old just like you guys. I grew up under you guys. So hey, man, forgive me.
You forget.
But I still say Detroit do have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Well, you know,
You know,
surprising, you talking about them edge rushers, though. Houston,
What?
man, come on, man. He done it. Pascal, they're more than good enough to get the job done, I'm telling you. Even without Zarius Smith.
Listen,
I mean,
if
So
you
who
if
was
you
Philadelphia's
Hutchinson.
greatest pass rusher?
okay, so look, it takes a quarterback 1.224 to get the ball off his hand into the play.
Who is
right?
Philadelphia's top pass rusher, Ismail?
Oh shoot, okay. They got Sweat. They got
Sweat running the ball.
no Sweat. No Sweat. That Sweat is no longer with
Oh, yeah,
Philadelphia.
you're right. You're exactly
Come on,
right.
man.
My
Come
bad.
on, you old dude.
Come on, now.
Come
You
on,
got
man.
me.
They still got Sweat. They still got Graham out of Michigan. That boy is still putting the
He's
hum
still
on there.
putting the stuff in. I agree with you.
He sure is. 15 years
Is
in
he
the
better
in
than
the-
McNeil?
in the- Huh?
Is he better than McNeil's inside rusher?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't
Yes,
know.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Brandon's an
Yeah.
edge rusher anyway. He ain't big enough to get in the middle.
Listen,
We don't have nobody like the big boy, McNeil.
listen. I just told you McNeil is
J.R. Reed
I
is
just
no
said
slouch.
Neil is hurt. And he's
J.R.
still
Reed is
playing
no
through the
slouch.
pain.
J.R. Reed
Huh?
is no slouch.
Yeah, Reed is good.
Okay. So we saw what Readers did in Cincinnati. Okay. He had 2 good seasons in Cincinnati and they got rid of him.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on now. Come on.
But
Let's-
just because those
Let's
folks got
throw some
rid of
common
him don't
let's
mean
throw some
that
common sense
they
out of
can't
that now.
play.
'Cause
Well,
after they played them to death, after they played Reader to death in Cincinnati and they couldn't get past Kansas City, what they do? Kick his butt out of there.
yeah, but that's the good thing about
Oh, y'all
Holmes.
stuttering
No,
now.
the
Y'all
Lions.
stuttering.
You know why the Lions are really good, and I believe in them like never before because they got the best general manager in all football. One of the best.
I'll give you that.
From HBCU, and he's been
I'll give
getting
you that.
people off the scrap heap and
Yeah,
turning
my
them
man,
around.
you know how to pick.
Come on
Yeah, you
now,
know how to pick them
Anzalone, you
around.
just keep going, man. He's gotten a lot of guys.
The guy out of Iowa.
I'm not taking that away. I'm not taking that away. I'm not taking that away.
Houston,
But
all the
if
guys
you're gonna
pretty good.
if you're gonna rely on Jameson Williams, your speedster, right? He can't do no he like Tyreek Hill at the beginning of his career. I'm just gonna run down the field, right?
Let me share this
We
with
don't
you,
need him to do
Ismail.
nothing else.
If Goff was a deep ball,
You really don't.
if Goff was a deep ball passer the way Stafford is,
Yeah.
then you would
Oh,
see
yeah, I give you
more of Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Oh, I agree.
Okay, all right.
I agree with you.
A
I agree
couple
with you
young
because
fellas some
hey,
slack now.
that wasn't a fair trade. I'm not gonna lie to you. That wasn't a fair trade off.
What?
Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford. That wasn't a fair trade off.
Oh.
That wasn't.
It seemed
Now,
like
you
it
know
worked
that
for
like I know
everybody.
that.
Yeah.
LA won the
That
Super
wasn't
Bowl.
a fair trade. That wasn't a fair trade off.
Well, they won the Super Bowl. How can you deny that?
But Ishmael, when you
Uh-huh.
talk about longevity, wasn't it a fair trade-off?
No. No, because Jared Goff is not a great quarterback.
Well, no, he's not.
No.
But I think even through his admission, he's not going to say he's a great quarterback.
Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback.
Yeah.
Jared Goff is a game manager.
But Detroit
Don't make no more. Don't give us 4 more interceptions like you did the last game.
Detroit
don't do
needed
that.
Man, he had a game like that against Tampa Bay and we lost.
Yeah.
You know, he'll get 1 or 2 of them clunkers in a year, man.
Man, come on,
So,
man. You seen
but it's a
them
long
you seen
season.
a
We
couple
can't
of
go
those ducks
undefeated.
he threw. You seen a couple of those ducks he threw.
Oh man, they had me. I thought they had lost. To be honest with you, I gave up. But I wasn't really mad at them losing.
So Hurst is that much better than Goff?
Who?
Hurst. Or if he's just more mobile.
Oh,
than
Jalen?
Goff.
No, Jalen is not that better than Jared Goff.
There you go. Only thing he has is he's more mobile. Goff is not.
That's it. That's what he got over Jared Goff. He's a mobile quarterback.
Okay.
Well, the one thing I could give Holmes credit for, he built the team around the talent that he had to make it
Yes,
work.
he did.
And they know Goff's limitations, so he gave him the best line in the NFL. So, all right, now. But, see,
Don't run
but
for
here's
the
the biggest problem with Goff that scares me when it gets to the end of the playoffs.
Okay.
When you get a guy like him that's immobile, and he ain't Brady, so you can look at Brady and say Brady did, but that's a whole nother ball game. But you get a 10-play drive, the line cannot block perfect for 10 plays. No, it's just not going to.
No.
So you're going to get sacked. So every time we had these big drives, we end up losing 10 yards, 8 yards. It messes us up on some beautiful drives because because of his inability to break down plays and create something when things not going.
Even
that just hurts the team. But that's the way it is.
Even about 2 seconds.
Right.
Step up, he doesn't do it.
No, he don't do it as good. He don't do it like
I wouldn't let Jared Goff lead me through a paper bag.
No, wait a minute. We could win with it. We could win with it.
Let me ask you this question.
Ismail. Yep.
Did he lose that game in the championship last year out of San Francisco? Did he lose that game?
No, he didn't. He wasn't the only one that lost that game.
Reynolds lost that game.
He didn't lose that game. Reynolds dropped.
I'd never blame it on the player, but that's 2 drops, man. He caught like 60 balls all year.
Yeah,
he was a glue guy.
Hey, y'all either played sports and y'all covered sports. Y'all know that once you get in that big game, them nerves start kicking in. Only the survivor survive now, because only the real ones gonna play through the lights.
You saw
the other ones don't have to have it dimmed so they can be able to see.
You saw what happened to the rookie Holland with the Pistons the other day.
Oh yeah,
I can't be mad. He shoot 90%
and missed 2 free throws at the.
Hey man, we ain't gonna go to the Pistons, man. We're not gonna go to the Pistons. We're not gonna go to the Pistons.
No, we're gonna go to the Pistons. This is my show, Ishmael. So we're gonna go to the Pistons now. We gonna go to the Pistons. I got 2 prolific folks in here. So this ain't a Northwestern thing. You know, we got the Stags in the house and we got the technicians in there, you know, as well. So let me ask this question then. So let me say this: the Pistons. I mean, do you think that Bickerstaff has been a great addition as far as saying the coaching for the Pistons?
No.
We got a coach over here. You just messed up.
I know Gore personally. They're gonna be mad at me saying that, but no.
Comment.
No.
So you think Bickerstaff was an improvement?
Heck no.
Wow.
Why you say that?
Because you have to overhaul that whole team. I'm gonna tell you like I told Tom Gordon them. Look, they were so centered around.
You've been giving him advice. That's what's wrong.
No, and he ain't listening. Because if he was listening, he would have got better players. They were so busy. Wilhelm and all of them were so busy. I'm saying Cunningham, that they were willing to let a lot of other players go around, right? To make him a point forward. They were looking at him like Grant Hill.
He's too slow for that.
But that's what they formulated. That's what they told me. They formulated, they played, they looked at their personal staff and said everything is going to go around Cade Cunningham and he's our next Grant Hill.
Well, let me say this. I'm sitting at home sometime, and I can anticipate the passes he's going to make from at home. Because he is a fabulous ball player, but he's slow physically and his thinking, he doesn't anticipate very fast. So he's not a point anything. He's a fabulous ball player.
Right. He just he's a dominant ball player. Yeah. Right. He's a dominant ball handler.
But what does that have to do with Bickerstaff?
Bickerstaff can't get the best out of him.
But what does that have to do with Bickerstaff?
Bickerstaff never got the best out of people out of Houston when he was coaching there. Look, man, he's a traveler.
So he is a traveler. Come look at Cleveland. Cleveland 12-0 without him. They got rid of him. Everybody complained.
But the question wasn't how great Bickerstaff is. The question was, is he better than Darwin asked? Is he better? The host asked the question, not you. Is he better than what we had?
He's better than what we had.
Yeah.
He's better than Monty.
Hands down.
Yeah, Monty took the money and ran, though.
It was money to take the money.
He could at least coach,
man. He didn't even try to coach.
I mean, you look at some of the staffing that he did when putting personnel out there on the court, and that was a lot that was in question last season compared to this season.
Yeah, I like Trajan Lane. Yeah, I like Trajan Lane. Okay. I like him.
They're playing.
I like him.
Under big
they're fast.
Actually, I'm man watching.
Right.
I mean, he's utilizing the talent a whole lot different than what was being done last season. Because that's where the question was at.
But
y'all gonna have to. Who gonna talk? Are you guys gonna talk to Stewart and tell him to get his act together?
Stewart is
not a center.
Yeah, but we need him.
You go. Look, they created him to be. They making him shaped up to be like the next Ben Wallace.
No,
right?
No.
I said the same thing. I said the same thing. There's no way you could turn that kid into Ben Wallace.
Well, it's hard to turn anybody into Ben Wallace. He's Hall of Famer. Many Ben Wallace.
Sure. But that's what they want to shape him like.
Well, that's okay. If he a mini Ben Wallace ain't bad, I'll take that.
But here's about coaching. And so I'm going to give you a lesson 101 in coaching.
Okay, come on.
You have to use the players you got.
Amen. That's true.
And you got to get the most out of every player you got.
And they all playing better. Don't y'all think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, they playing better.
From 1 to 15. He can't. That's Trajan's deal to get the right pieces at home.
Yeah, it is.
For the Lions. Bickerstaff's job is to use the players he has to the best that he can get out of them.
Now, I would disagree with Coach over here a little bit about Cage.
No,
Cage, he can play the point. Right now, he well, he's playing point. I mean, he's had 10, 12 assists, 13 assists. Yeah. He got more assists than anybody else. But see, the turnovers is the problem. But so LeBron. LeBron has 6 or 7 turnovers.
But LeBron,
you 5 or 6 or 7 turnovers. You go back and look.
You can have 10 turnovers, and then when you grade out
you just went Stein. You just went far left. Okay,
I ain't saying he would do that. I'm just saying the turnovers. We can make those better. No, the kid is putting up some really serious numbers. He don't look good because he is kind of slow and he herky-jerky and he ain't no high flyer. But if you look at the stats and what he's giving that team, oh man, we can build around that guy.
I said fabulous.
But if you ball heavy, and you
but there's nobody else to dribble. They don't have no other point guard. He got to do it. If he had another player like Isaiah had, Joe Dumars, and
they do have one. But
they do.
I mean, Ivy get there, man.
He just doesn't fit in the scheme and the players you got because you don't have nobody really you can dish to because Sasser is a very quick, capable point guard.
He showed it yesterday.
Yeah.
Hey, and Ivy is a great two-way player.
He's coming around.
Ivy is your best two-way player. And if you don't use him more than you use Cunningham, you're going to lose.
Well, they used him now.
Because he got the foot speed. He got that, you know, Keith, he got that first step.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
And he's blowing right by guys. He ain't even.
He's looking better.
Y'all seen it? Y'all seen his son? That first step is a monster.
Well, we'll see. They don't have enough yet.
They need to take.
They're too small.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody
Yeah,
on the front.
they don't have a big Durin ain't gonna do nothing. Yeah, Durin ain't gonna do nothing. He's a big slow mo.
Well, they just got him and Stewart.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Durin gonna get you 13, 14 rebounds. We can use him.
Well, yeah, but he's a big slow mo, man. He's a big slow
He's
mo.
really slow.
Yes, he
He's
is.
not an offensive weapon. They need a
Man, look here, man. He running left when everybody else is running right.
Harris would be that guy.
Well, so now, okay, Leland, you brought up about Cleveland before. Now, Cleveland is what, 13-0?
Yeah.
13-0.
And now you're looking at them to possibly challenge who?
Boston.
So who do you think comes out the East?
Boston.
Boston.
Come on, man. Don't get beside yourself. Donovan is not gonna go no further than where he at. Come on now. I like Donovan Mitchell. I loved him when he was with Utah. But nah, bro. You know, it's 82 games, gentlemen.
Pretty good team all the way around.
It's 82 games. It's 82 games, and right when it become All-Star break, right there is when you're gonna see all the real good teams start popping out.
Okay, so you're thinking then Boston is gonna come out the East?
Yeah, Boston coming out of the East.
So who do they face in the West?
Ooh, now that's a good one.
The East is weak. The East is weak.
It won't be Denver. It won't be the Lakers.
The West is crowded to the mud this year.
I know, right?
I mean, they're packed to the brim. So,
man, well, you know,
see how that shuffle out.
Yeah, you know, John Morant is still hurt.
Yeah,
so you're saying OKC?
OKC lost Holmgren.
You said OKC for real?
They lost Chet Holmgren, right?
But they're gonna
yeah.
And I don't think that what's the name, Edie. I don't think that he's going to fill in
no,
that gap.
Edie's with Memphis.
I mean Memphis. I'm sorry.
But they're getting the boy back.
Yeah. Look, Edie is too old, man. Edie like 400 years old at 7'6". You know, I'm like, no.
He played good the other day.
He did.
The Lakers.
He did against the Lakers.
Yeah, he can play in the pros. He ain't gonna hurt nobody. Don't you think so?
No,
I think so.
Yeah, he in the right. He in the league. He in the right league now.
Yeah,
you know,
compared to what he was when he was in Purdue.
Yeah, he wouldn't have made it in the 80s and the 90s though. No.
So Ishmael. So okay, now I'm gonna ask just like I've asked Leland and Keith. So who do you think is gonna come out the West then?
That's gonna be a tough one. Damn.
Let's see who's coming out that West.
OKC or Dallas.
They ain't gonna win without Chet.
No,
I don't think Dallas though.
Yeah.
No,
so you think that they have to kind of get their little game together between?
Yeah, I think Dallas got a lot of. They got a lot of.
Golden State 9-2.
That's Luka.
What y'all think?
What
is that for real?
Golden State?
No, that ain't for real. That's about to fade out. That's about to fade out.
So you think
Phoenix 9-3?
Phoenix is
playing
good ball, boy.
Phoenix gonna be up.
But Phoenix plays. But Phoenix plays better when Phoenix has got what's name in the game. You know,
I'm telling you, Dallas and
when Durant is playing.
Who ain't better?
But Durant always injured now, man. He getting too old.
And I don't think that Booker is that player that's going to carry the team.
Yeah, Devin ain't never carried.
Once Dallas get Luka to stop talking to the referee.
Oh, there you go.
Negotiating, making annex, and he plays. They got the best team.
You don't like when he fall into the ground, his little fat butt fall into the ground, cussing out everybody in a different language. You don't like that?
I think it's childish. I think it's beneath his talent level.
It is. I agree. So, hey, because really, Luka is the European version of LeBron James.
Yes.
That's a big dude. I've seen him in person. He's a big kid.
He is big. He's thick as mud. He just don't have no muscle, though.
Well, okay, so Ishmael, let me ask
you.
In the couple of minutes that we got left before we take a break, so let me ask you. So, who's going to be in the championship game between the East and West?
In the NBA or the NFL?
NBA.
Oh shoot, Boston East. Let's just jump out there.
You can just say you don't know.
Yeah, that's a toss up.
It is a toss-up because Denver's playing good ball.
Yeah, that's a toss-up.
Lakers.
So,
Like they
Hey,
got a shot.
ask me that question. Ask me that question after the All-Star break.
You know, Lakers gonna make a trade sometime.
Yeah, they will. They will. They're gonna get rid of D'Lo.
Well,
Who's gonna want these?
he hasn't been coming through for him in the playoffs.
No, they gonna get rid of
That's
D'Lo.
his
They need a
only
third
problem. He
player.
played good during
Who's
the
gonna
year.
want
He
D'Lo?
looks good, but the playoffs, he just can't do it. I don't know what this.
Houston and all of them will take him. Houston, Golden State, they'll take
State
him.
ain't taking D'Lo.
No, they can't.
all right. So then, so let me
don't play enough
say this.
defense.
Let me say this last before we
That's
take this
why he's
quick
not
break.
starting now.
All right, let's switch gears. We're still on basketball.
Okay.
WNBA.
Boo. Boo.
Do you think that, and I'm going to ask you this, Leland, do you think that the Pistons could compete, when I say that, with the WNBA team in terms of, say, getting the fan base?
The Pistons fan base is doing good. The WNBA I went to all their championship games. And the one that stands out, the fan base is here for women's
I think
sports.
so, too.
Hands down. Because when this is how bad they think of women's sports. The Palace, even though they had won the championship the year before, they didn't even think about them being in the playoffs. They took the shot and had scheduled some car show. So they get in the championship game, the finals, they don't have nowhere to play. They got to play at Joe Louis Arena. Man, they had 19,000. They were one of the biggest crowds that ever witnessed, NBA finals. 19, because Joe was big building. 19-9. It was packed. They won it. Magnificent game. Well, it was just awesome. And so then, I always said Detroit was kind of weird. Here you are. The biggest rapper happened to be a white guy from Detroit. The hockey team winning cups, playing in the arena downtown.
Yeah.
Named after black man, only arena in the country. And the Pistons out there winning championships playing out Rochester Hills. You're like, what is this? Auburn Hills, only in Detroit, them kind of things happen. But, I'm really proud of Gore that he made the move and brought the team back home and created an environment that Detroit is the only city in America that has all four of its sports franchises playing downtown.
All within walking distance of each other.
Yeah.
That does make a difference right there. Ishmael, we got to take a break. Don't know if you can hang on with us because we may have another caller to call in a minute. But
that's fine. I can hang with you. I like talking to Keith and Stone. We ain't heard from them jokers in a minute.
Oh, we joking.
All right.
He said it was love.
Well, we're about to take a break, so we're going to take a quick break. And Ishmael, if you can hang in there for a quick second, let me see if my other callers are going to call in. But if not, then we can take you for the last half an hour. You're watching Truth to Power with Darwin Griffin. I'm your host with Keith Bennett, Leland Stein. We'll be right back.
Feel good about your future with tuition-free programs at Wayne County Community College District. Whether you want to be in healthcare, computer science, the culinary arts, digital media, or robotics and automation for the next generation of vehicles, WCCCD has you covered. A full range of programs to achieve your goals, fit your schedule, and give you all the support you need to be successful. All of it tuition-free. Now there's something to feel good about. Register today at wccccd.edu.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live. Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
My fear is not being myself and putting others in harm whenever I'm under the influence. Did you know drivers with a BSC of .08 are 4 times more likely to get in a crash than those with a 0?
There is a reason why the legal drinking age is 21. Underage drinking is ugly because teens who start to drink before the age of 15 are 12 times more likely to be unintentionally injured.
Over 300 fatal crashes and almost 4,000 injury crashes were alcohol related.
Death is ugly, especially since this avoidable accident. Yet on average, every 52 minutes, an alcohol-impaired driving fatality occurs.
Fees and fines are ugly and I want to get paid, not owing anybody money. If everyone obeyed new driving policies with a BAC of no more than .05, alcohol-impaired driving fatalities, injuries, and total costs could decrease by 71 through 77%.
Help us remind others to not be ugly with alcohol and keep alive with .05. This message was brought to you by the Center for Urban Youth and Family Development.
All right, and we are down to our last half an hour with Truth to Power, and I am joined by Mr. Leland Stein, Mr. Keith Bennett, and on the air we still have Mr. Ishmael Terry. So again, let's kind of look at, we talked a little bit about the WNBA. We talked in terms about how the season had progressed when it came down to New York finally getting their first championship with the WNBA. And, you know, and now the time is pretty much kind of like changed. So now we've still got a lot of people that are looking at the college entry, the portal, and from the college women's basketball teams into the WNBA. And we had an interesting season. There was a lot of talk about Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and you know, this year, looking at college basketball when it comes down to the women, we know that Dawn Staley usually has some, you know, pretty prominent teams in the, you know, as far as say leading into that portal with the WNBA. But this season, Keith, Leland, who do you see in terms of say as a team that could compete against South Carolina? Because I see Connecticut is looking pretty good, and USC is looking pretty good.
But there's a few teams out there that haven't really shown where they're going. So it's going to be a competitive college basketball season for the women. And because their athletes that's coming out of high school, coming into the college ranks, are so uniquely talented now. And so we got to give them about 10 or 12 games to kind of flush it out. But I think it's going to be very competitive. I think South Carolina, who is trying to reach 46 straight wins to break Pat Summitt's record at Tennessee, are going to run into a lot of teams that are trying to knock them off. And so I think that it's just super competitive. Women's sports now, women's basketball is just super competitive. I love it because it's more fundamental that's going on, inside-outside game than some of the NBA games. Also, when we were talking about a possible WNBA franchise in Detroit, I think I agree with Leland. It would go over huge here. And a plus would be if they go recruit Don Staley to be the coach. Their coach in GM. If they do that.
Yeah. Well, they got to get I don't even know if they're looking to expand, are they? This year?
Well, you know, I haven't heard that.
Because they lost money.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, because it's a tough. part of what I always saw with women's sports, we've always championed it, starting with the Sparks when they first opened up out there at the Forum. In the first WNBA game, played New York, and Rebecca Lobo and all that made a big deal. But because I was out there on the West Coast, I got exposed to women's sports because Cheryl Miller and them was playing at USC. Mm-hmm. So we automatically was writing about them and being exposed to women's sports when I was first getting going. And so I learned to appreciate the women's game, man, because that USC team was fun, man. I'm telling you. They had the McGee twins out of Flint. Yeah. What's the girl's name? Oh, man. She played at Houston.
You got Cheryl Swoop out of Houston.
Not Swoop, the other one.
Cooper.
That with Cooper. Cynthia Cooper. That's a shame I couldn't do that. Oh, man, Cynthia Cooper lit it up. You know, the WNBA.
And that's why I had problems this year when they were talking like Angel or Caitlin. Those players were the greatest things that ever graced that floor because they were superstars.
Yeah, that's true.
25 years.
That's very true.
Years ago in the women's basketball.
But unfortunately, what I've seen, the gatekeepers, we call the gatekeepers the editors, like editor of newspaper, the editors of production, the news production team. In America, for every decade up until now, they didn't give two farts about women's sports. And they weren't going to cover it and give it any kind of shine. They just wasn't going to do it.
Think about it.
Same thing with track and field. They're going to do 2-3 sports. It's our gatekeepers in terms of what they're pushing and sending their writers to cover. And, like track and field, to me, it's the greatest sport on earth.
Think about it now.
Years,
the political scene, because sports is political.
Of course it is. There's no doubt about it. Oh, yes.
There's a big push now to push women back in their place.
Right.
And to not have that kind of, footprint.
That's very true.
Able to become independent.
Yeah, because they don't want to spend no money on it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now, college is lucky because for like 6 decades, they hid under the guise of amateurism, knowing that is just ridiculousness. And they hid by it, and it was able to destroy 1 million young black boys' lives over Happy Meal, a T-shirt, getting a ride home. Right. They was kicking them out of school for that kind of nonsense. Right. And so, just that whole amateur thing that they set out, they used it also to use other sports. They said, well, we got to do hockey and tennis. Football and basketball money, the only money-making sports in college. So that's also, we got to pay them brothers over there because we got to help these folks. Mm-hmm. No, tennis and them got the money. They get their own money. Fundraise, do what they got to do. The dudes should be getting paid for the effort they putting on that field. It should have been 1 million years ago.
Because, that's something, too. And I'm going to say this real quick, Ishmael. That young man in Belleville, the quarterback, I mean, they are really touting him real tough.
He's good.
He's very good. And
I went saw him this year.
Yeah, and Leland, he's good. Ooh, okay. But talk about how good is he, Leland?
Man, God gave him the athletic gift. I mean, like 6'4". He can really run.
So where do you hear that he might be going?
Well, first he signed to LSU. Okay. But Kelly left. Saban coming now. Well, Saban's such a big name, he may just stay. Most of the time, people leave when the coach leaves. I've been hearing rumors that, Michigan is going
That's
after.
what I was hearing. Michigan was going after.
Which makes sense. I mean, why not?
Just right up the street.
Yeah, y'all throwing money away on yachts and everything y'all want to throw. I mean, come on. Little boys get a couple of dollars, act like the whole world's falling in.
This season taught them that you can't go out there without a hawk at quarterback.
Right.
Teron, he broke my heart, man. I was really rooting for him being the first black head coach at Michigan. But when he looked in the offseason and he evaluated his team, he did the good old boy thing. He didn't want to make no waves. He sat back, our team, we good. No, you look at that and go, Go to the office, sound alarms, we got to get us a quarterback.
You ain't lying.
If he didn't do that, then he didn't do his job.
He didn't watch his own back.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Yeah, he let the board of regents dictate to him.
And didn't make no waves. But he really, he should have stood up.
You only get one.
He should have stood up. Yeah, he messed up this year.
He's only gonna get one more.
Because you can't run out there with what he ran out there with, man. No, not today's world.
So who do you think then, gentlemen, is probably going to come out and be in the top 4 when it comes down to the playoffs at the end of the season for football, college?
What,
Whoa.
12 teams now.
Yeah.
Not 4 no more.
There's
But
12
I'm saying
now.
so 12 then. So
Yeah.
So you're saying when it comes down to the last
when it comes down to the last 4,
Oh, when it comes to the Final Four and all of that,
exactly.
the top 2.
Who do you think it's going to be?
Okay.
Look, once you throw 12 in there, now you're talking about any given Sunday.
You're dealing
The
with-
best teams
and
don't
you're
have to
dealing with
win.
kids, too. And you
No,
know,
it's a one game hitter. It's a one game hitter.
One
They know-
bad game over extra games to play. It's
Here's
tough.
the caveat.
You have a bad game.
Here's the caveat. A lot of those kids, if you're one of the top lower teams, 10 through 12, and they decide, I'm not even going to take a chance on getting hurt because I might not even play in the tournament.
Good point.
Because I'm going to get ready for the draft.
That's a good point.
And one of the things that we're not discussing that we should have had a long time ago, but I go with it now. A lot of these kids today that playing college football or college basketball ain't really caring about the sport because they getting an NIL deal.
No,
Depending
just
on what
because you
they're
get money don't mean you don't care about the sport.
That's just,
Stop it.
That's just
If they get a top ranking, that's why most of these kids are playing in these AAUs anyway, because they're trying to get a top ranking so they can get the best NIL deal.
Well,
You know,
you can't blame them.
they're not gonna break their back like we used to and bust our knees up and bust our head up like we used to because we didn't have an NIL.
We didn't have no money neither. We were stealing steaks, put them inside our Coke trying to get some food. We didn't have food stamps.
Plastic helmets with plastic masks.
I'm embarrassed with some of the stuff we did.
How many concussions can you get? And then go out there and hit them again. Go do that again. So today's monitoring game is different than when we played, right? So
Well, it probably
now,
should be.
and listen.
Remember, they used to tell us, your head get all hurt. Coach said, walk it off.
Right.
Shake it
That's
off.
right.
Son. Ain't nobody
How
cared
many
about no concussion.
Wait. How many
I ain't
people
never
you
heard them
see
even
in
mention that
television?
word.
Right.
I know I was knocked out a few times. I was like,
Hey, man,
head spinning.
yeah.
Like, whoa,
Hey.
where we at?
Right. I've been in concussions where I've been like, man, I don't even know how to spell my own name. And I'm like, well.
My name, I know that.
Keith said you still got a concussion. See how you do, man.
Right.
He just
All right, so then let me ask then. So we not in concussion protocol now here. So let me ask this question now. So who do you think then is going to be in the championship game
Ooh.
That's hard.
this season?
I got Alabama.
Because you know,
Let's
because
call it. Oh,
you
my
got
God.
Alabama.
I got Alabama.
That's
I got Bama.
If you took the name away, are they really a clear cut?
That's my question
No.
too, Keith.
There ain't no clear-cut favorite.
They're not.
No.
But now
No.
looking at the Penn
You never
States,
know.
looking at the Ohio State, looking at Indiana. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we got an interesting Big Ten league this season.
Indiana, a fake team, though, man. You know that.
You can't be 8-0 with fake. Stop
They
it.
beat everybody. They
Ohio
No
State better
kid.
than
You gotta give
Ohio
some credit.
State is better. Ohio State is better than Indiana. Come on, man.
Ohio State.
Well, they gotta
has
beat
not
'em.
proved- That coach has not proved that he can win in a big game.
Let's see.
Why? Because he lost to Oregon?
No, I'm talking about when he gets into the big games.
Who you talking about, Ohio State?
Yeah.
So do you
Right.
think that Oregon is gonna?
I think Oregon can win it all. If it goes right their way.
Let's see what we got here.
Well, see, I think the thing is with Oregon has got a good team.
They, a heck of a defense, a heck of an offense.
They do.
Special team. They got receivers that's burners. They all track stars. They got James
That's
at the
another
running
one of
back.
Michigan's problem. They haven't had nobody to separate these burners. for about 4 or
Right,
5
right.
seasons. That's it.
Yeah.
So Ishmael, Leland, Keith. So are any of you surprised at Colorado this season?
No.
No, I ain't
No,
surprised.
not with the talent.
No.
Because he threw away 40 people.
You know, 42 people. He was like,
You can kick the door. Because we can't win with you. See, that's what Sharon Moore should have did.
Right.
I can't win with these guys. Everybody got on Deion this year.
Yeah.
Look what he did. He got rid of 40-some people. He ain't nothing. He's in disarray. Franchise is destroyed, right? This was the preseason prognosis. Talking about, you see what he did. He got rid of 40, he got 40 better. So, but you got to go to work, though, to do that.
Also, Deion wasn't as much his own distraction this season as he was last year.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of toned it down
He
and
did.
focused more on his head coach's role.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he pissed me off when they almost lost that game last year at homecoming. And he had all the rappers on the sideline.
Oh,
and they
yeah,
talking and
man.
running. I'm like, get them fools
Right,
out of here and
right.
get up there in the stands where you belong.
Right, exactly.
But I think what he realized, he's like saying to himself, I got 2 more good years left here in Colorado. And I need to build this program up before I leave, because I think the NFL is coming and knocking on his door. And I believe that wherever he goes to coach, yeah, I think his son gonna follow him.
Well, you
If
know,
he
you got to
goes-
think all the NFL owners, 90% of them voted Republican. Okay,
Guaranteed.
so you got to understand what kind of people we're dealing with. I don't know if they can want a guy like Deion.
They're not going to allow.
You know, that's going.
You don't think so?
But Deion ain't gonna stop. He's gonna be him. So
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Jones loved him to death.
they're gonna take somebody that's, they're gonna let him do his
But would he
shine
love
thing.
working for Jerry Jones?
That's the
Jerry
key.
be
I
the
mean,
one doing too much talking. How you work for an owner to do the press conference after the game, before the game? Man, he ain't supposed to be doing that. That's the coach's job.
yeah, Jerry on his own soap stick. That's why he couldn't keep Jimmy Johnson. So
Yeah, that's true.
but-
That's true.
That is true.
Well, see, I think the thing is just that, like, right now, sports is really becoming the benchmark for a lot of conversations that people are having.
Yeah.
And it seems like you see a lot more women nowadays that are really into sports, not just playing the game, but I'm talking about playing the game as well, Leland
Right.
Keith, but also in Ishmael, but also seeing them being the fans, going out to the game, knowing sports, in terms of saying the way that they do.
Because fashion is part of sports now too.
Ladies,
Women love to wear
killing it.
different fashion stuff and the hookups
I mean, you
and
saw-
swag and all that.
You saw Walt
Yeah,
Frazier,
they
Walt
go out there
Frazier
for
and
the
them in the
fashion.
60s and 70s.
But let me say this. I'm interested in where will sports be next year this time, because I don't believe our incoming president will keep his hands off of sports.
Say that again.
That's a
I
good point.
want to see where, especially professional sports are in college, even with the NIL, where it is next year this time, because I do not see our incoming president of this country keeping his hands off sports, because sports generate a lot of money for people that look like us.
Yes. Well, look what he did. He called them son of a bitches.
Right.
And he's the reason why Kaepernick stayed permanently kicked out of the league, because he riled up America.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
it actually worked. And look at it, he's president now. All that riling up he did.
They already went after Michael Strahan about not putting his hand on his heart.
Right.
So the Black National Anthem is gone out of
Oh, yeah.
the arenas next year when he comes in.
Right.
What else is he going to enforce? Do you have to?
They don't even play the Black National
He was
Anthem.
right, because he's always wanted to be in sports. He
Yeah.
tried to get a pro team, tried to get USL.
USFL.
I used to see him at boxing. He tried to get into the boxing game. But he ain't been able, thank God they ain't let him get none of those things.
Well, we're going to see now.
But yeah,
Well,
Keith's
look,
right. I can't see him
okay,
not
so-
yelling
so
at
if-
the athletes if they decide to stand up for anything.
And
So
if they
look,
don't
so
go
I
to
want,
the White House,
so I
after
want to
you win
chime
the
in on that.
championship,
I want to chime in on that. Now, when the
They have to.
Pistons are playing, when the Pistons are playing,
You got to dictate.
when the Pistons are playing their game, before they start, they play the national anthem, the white version national anthem, right? Do you know that as long as the Pistons are playing the national anthem, they can't sell no products, they can't do nothing. They have to stand right there and salute to the flag, to that flag, right? I asked them same questions about the Black national anthem. They said they can't play that.
Right.
Okay, they say that they can't play the Black
We're
national
going to
anthem
see now. Keith's right.
inside the
Because the
inside Little
NFL
Caesars Arena.
Because they
sung it
played
at the
it.
Super Bowl
Yes.
for the first time.
And you saw the backlash.
So we go, yeah, I know.
Right.
That freaked me out.
Yes.
People
So
really
this-
got mad about it.
Politics is going to be involved in sports at most levels starting January 21st.
Well, politics always been involved in sports. You know
but
that.
I'm talking about on a different level.
Yeah, I understand what Keith's saying. Because now you got a meddling president in particular. But politics and
You
sports.
think that Trump is going to be focused in on Negroes in the NBA and the NFL standing up for rights?
He already talked. He talked about Giannis over in Milwaukee. That he's as much Greek as I am. Don't think this man doesn't pay attention. They say he watched more TV than any president ever does.
Unbelievable.
Well,
this man does not have a presidential mindset.
I'm not saying he does, but what I'm saying to you is that we have more bigger fish to fry than worried about the comb over and orange skinned man. Worried about him coming out.
They put in 190 judges last time. Him McConnell.
Oh man, listen here.
And we couldn't get nothing. Now they're gonna put in another. Our grandkids and kids, boy, they better not get in no trouble.
You about to lose 3 state Supreme Court justices.
Oh my
you
God, we in trouble.
retirement. Okay, so
let me give you
the fact.
Another 30, 40 years.
Let me give you the factual. You got Clarence Thomas is retiring. You got Roberts is retiring, and they trying to move Al Bayer. Okay. Now that once the 3 is gone, Trump has the power to be able to appoint.
Right.
But this is the part that you guys are not paying attention.
What makes you think we're not paying attention?
Okay. So
what makes you think that we're going to turn this show into a politics show too?
I'm not going to do politics. I'm talking sports, but y'all brought politics in this.
Politics and sports are married.
We're not talking about.
They're married. Starting with Hitler at 45, with Jesse Owens running out of the stadium with Jesse.
What I was alluding to, really, without trying to say it, was when the commissioners are replaced in the major sports, will he have influence on who becomes those commissioners? NBA,
hopefully.
NFL.
But they his people anyway. They 90%.
Yeah, they all run in the same country club anyway. That's not going to have an influence. But what I was about to say in the WNBA, because that's what I wanted to chime in, because I have a daughter that's going to be going there pretty soon, too.
Really?
I heard that. Okay.
Hey, I said, that's all right.
So the thing is with the WNBA, because the NBA is the subsidized financial giver to the WNBA to keep them afloat. Right?
Right.
If you have 32,000 people filling in seats to see the white girl out of Iowa go into the WNBA, you milk the hell out of that cow. You don't get up there and let the other sisters be mad because she getting shine over you guys.
Well, I agree with you on that. But
and you not gonna milk the cow. I would have put her butt in the All-Star game. I'd have put her butt in the Olympics. I'd have put her everywhere that we could be seen because, like you said earlier, son, you got to get finance. And finances mean butts in the seat. And how many butts sit in the seat is how many sponsors you're going to get.
That's a league problem, Ismail, because they're playing this season when most people are outside traveling on vacation.
I agree.
That is a business nightmare.
No, guaranteed. So the WNBA problem has an image. Yeah, they got an image problem in the WNBA. They got to look at Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark as the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird.
Well, Angel Reese doesn't have the class that Magic Johnson has.
So was she a 304? Ooh, did I say that out loud? Nothing you need to know about. But
that's a Northwestern thing.
But the thing is,
I gotta know now. Y'all can't be having me out in the dark.
So the question is, Ishmael, before we sign off, what is this 304?
We can't say it on the air. Use your imagination.
Okay.
It's an adult.
Okay, we'll leave it alone. We'll leave it alone. That'll be a behind.
I got you.
That'll be a behind the scenes. Okay, we'll talk about that behind the scenes after the show is over.
It's a family show.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute now.
Okay.
Hold on, wait a minute.
So finish your point, Ishmael, that you were saying.
Okay, so they should have milked this as a Magic Johnson. They should have used it as a Magic Johnson and Larry Bird.
Why did they end up being that? Well, they wanted to be that.
Well, and now they can, but now they can't use that now, right?
Oh, they still
can't use
it.
Why can't they still use it? They used it with Bird and with Magic.
Yeah, but I'm saying at its height. at its height. Now you got to look at somebody that's coming out of college basketball now, like the young girl from LSU.
They use Magic and Larry for the first 3 or 4 years.
They use it for years.
WNBA don't know how to do that. They don't have a marketing team that'll be able to do all of that. You know that.
They don't have to. The country has done it.
Man, look, the country had already seen how they had a drop off in their attendance rate, even at the championship.
As soon as Angel Reese put her hand up to her face and waved.
Oh yeah, my goodness. Yeah, that did. But then you need to market that.
All right, well, we got a few seconds left. Let me get final comments I'll get a final comment from you, Ishmael. 30 seconds real quick.
All right. So 30 seconds quick. I believe that the NBA is going in the wrong direction. I think they need to get up there and look at their talents a little bit more often and not just bring in people just to sell the package. They need to, if they want better gamesmanship coming out of the NBA, they need to look at their talent a little bit more better.
Okay. Keith Bennett.
I think the NBA is a microcosm of society. We have stopped teaching fundamentals at the youngest level. And so by the time the players get to the NBA, they have spent 8-10 years not getting coached. And players don't even like being coached no more once they get to the NBA because the AAU system has really changed the way we brought athletes along. And so I think that we got to watch our sports, period, because we're getting away from what made them great and make them a great market value.
Okay. Lily, you got the last word.
Well, I wouldn't put too much on what ain't as good or as good. One thing I can tell you, Jerry West gave me the most honest retort I'll ever get from anybody. We were sitting there at the Laker game, and I was covering the Lakers back then, and Jerry, we was talking, and it wasn't about 4 or 5 reporters. They asked him, man, these athletes, now they ain't nowhere near as good as you guys were. And Jerry said, hold on, wait a minute. Kobe's bigger, faster, stronger than me. No, they're bigger, faster, stronger than they've ever been. And that's just facts. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Fundamentals.
And it's the fundamentals, right. Yeah. Leland Stein, Keith Bennett, Ishmael Terry, Gladys Bettis. I'm your host today, Darwin Griffin.
Gladys
we are
Bettis.
signing off.
Mama
and
B.
Norman Clement, we thank you for making the show as great as this show has been. So thank you, gentlemen and lady, for making this a great Truth to Power edition. See you soon.
Thanks for having me.